Hi all, Hal here with More Space Engineers, and we have made a few updates. Well, basically we've gotten our display system here, our system statuses all set up finally. And yes, I do have the jetpack on because otherwise, the view is a little skewed. So we are on the alien world. We have to get all sorts of stuff done, and currently we're waiting for our hydrogen levels to recharge a little bit. So I may need to go do a couple of recovery missions, I guess, or resource gathering missions to go grab some ice from the lake, bring it back, and get these things charged up. But first, we have to get started. So let's go. So, happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend and the week has started off strong for you. As we were saying earlier, we are back here in More Space Engineers and we are on the alien world, as you can see, and it is also night. Yeah, so I've been on planet now for, I don't know, a couple hours, I think. But basically, we're just waiting for the hydrogen to recharge. As you can see, overall, we're about 34, almost 35%. So I've had a couple of people asking specifically about how to configure the LCDs again. So let me walk back down there really quick. And I'll walk you through what we're doing because we are using custom blocks. And so since we have some custom blocks in use, we also need... Why are you not pressurizing? For some reason, I keep losing air. I think it's just at the door, maybe? Let me see, is it just standing in the doorway? Of course, I probably don't want to do that and risk killing myself. That's weird. There may be a slow leak in that room then. I may have to check that out later. Alright, so what we're doing is using the M-Master's automatic LCD2 script once again. So if you want to have things set up where, so with like the shield blocks, now there are actually mods out there that will read pretty much across anything that is a shield block identifier and will give you an output saying, you've got this much power going in, or you've got this much HP out of whatever the total HP set is, or recharge rates. There's actually a couple of graphic mods that you can get that will do that as well. And all those entail is having the script set up. The reason I don't tend to use those is because of one major reason is I've already got a script running that'll give me that information. It just doesn't give it to me in a pretty graphic. If I want the pretty graphic, then I'll set up a second programmable block that will have that has that second script in it. And you can then choose the type of display that you want to show up. Some of them require you to load image files. Some of them actually will use basically the same thing that the M-Master script does, where it draws up percentages, like the status bars down here. Some people have actually gone through the process of converting images into the programming language for programmable blocks. So when it pulls the status, as the status updates, it'll give you a graphic update. And some people have done some really interesting things with it. There's a couple of them out there. If you hit the workshop, just look for shield display, and it should come back, or graphical shield display, and it should come back with a couple of them. There's 2 or 3 that I have used in the past. I don't recall the name of them offhand because I don't have them loaded for this playthrough. But if you're interested in it, want to see it, let me know. Just drop the comment down in the section below, and what I'll do is I'll actually do a little spotlight on some of the different graphical and shield display systems, because I know a lot of people use the shield mods, both the defense shields and I'm trying to remember what the other one was called, because we're using the defense shield mod, and then there's another one that's, I want to say it might just be called shields. I don't remember now. And that's the one that was it's more of a structural integrity shield than it is an actual physical shield, where this one is a hard shield, which now also apparently you can choose between making it a hard shield or making it a structural integrity shield. So the difference being is that the hard shields stop damage from reaching the grid. The the integrity shield basically absorbs the damage once it hits the grid. So there's still potential for things to penetrate if they do more damage than the shield can absorb in a single hit. Or, you just avoid the damage entirely. It just depends on what you want to do and how you want to structure your gameplay. So anyway, let's get into here. So what we're going to do, go into custom data. Now, Automatic LCD script has this wonderful thing called details. So what you do is you just do details, and then since you're using a custom block, it may not show up in the normal structure. So what you want to do is whatever that block is named, do a curly bracket, an open curly bracket, full name of the block. Don't use shortcuts or partial names, because if you have any overlap, it'll pull everything with that naming tag in it. So if you have, say, 4 hydrogen tanks, we'll just use this as an example. The first hydrogen tank always is just hydrogen tank, and then the second one will be hydrogen tank 2, 3, 4, etc. You want to change that name so that the hydrogen tank is hydrogen tank 1. Same concept for doing this type of thing. You want to use exact naming tags to keep the script from returning things. Because what will happen is in some of the commands, and I'll show you that because we've got it set up for the tanks on the other side. What it'll do is if you have more than one block and you're pulling the same information from it, so say the tanks command, it's looking at how much volume is there, how much the capacity is, and what the total percentage of the capacity available is. If you have 2 tanks, say hydrogen tank 2, and you're only looking at hydrogen tank, it'll actually group them together as one display. And so instead of saying 160 kiloliters, it'll be 320 kiloliters. So if you're trying to get a little bit more finite detail, you definitely want to be paying attention to your naming and the tags and stuff. So, but basically that's what we're doing here. And what the details will do, specifically the details command, coming back to this, what it will do is when you are looking at a particular block, let's go here, basically this is the details, your block details information, and it pulls this information. So things that like when we were using the what was it, the big cannon that I can't remember what the name of that was, the Atlas cannon. It reports all of its charging data down here. So because it does that, you can report on that information by specifically saying, look at the block details. So anything that shows up here, you can actually have display on an LCD by using the details command. And we're doing the same thing for the shields, for the actual shield control, which has all the shield statistics on it. Once you've done that, all you have to do is adjust the font sizes, and to get things to present the way you want. If you're using scrolling, there's the option to have scrolling be manually controlled. Those are things where you start talking about getting into a little bit more complex commands, but you can do it. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing here. I think everyone knows how the batteries and power system is set up. That pirate ship may be a problem. We're still reporting on what are the top 10 most power-intensive blocks currently in use. And then for the tank system, what we're doing is we're actually using the tanks command, and then we're using specific naming, again, which we were talking about earlier, to say we want, specifically only this tank, only this tank, only this tank, only this tank, and then that will give you the breakdown. Now, one of the things you could do is, if you want to get a little bit fancier, is you do this, where you say, you have tanks, you want to do all tanks, so you do asterisk, and the type of tank is oxygen, right? So what we wanted to do is we wanted to give us a summary of the tank status for oxygen. So when it updates, we should get a 5th one, and as you can see at the top of that list, it now combines all the stats for everything below it. So what you can do is when you get into a little bit more advanced data configurations, when you're starting to talk about, how can you make things a little bit more data dense, you can say, we're going to say echo we'll say total oxygen. And we're going to have it do tanks oxygen. And so what this should do now is at the bottom of this list gives me a total oxygen readout. And then you can play around with how you want to make these commands work for you a little bit better. Just remember that you do want to try and limit a single command to a single line. You don't want to have, say, 3 commands on the same line. You can do it. The system doesn't really care. But some commands basically disable the reading of text as a command prompt because of the fact that you are using, say, like echo. After echo, everything after that is displayed until there's a line break. So if you write out this long command, you're going to see a long command there. It's just going to show up as text, not as actually. It's not going to register as a command as far as the script is concerned. All right. So what I will probably do with this is actually do. Let's go here. I'm going to change this to be details. Details. And we're going to go here and we're going to duplicate this. And we're going to do one of these for hydrogen. So this is what I do when I'm waiting for tanks to recharge, or if waiting, basically I have things that are processing in the assemblers. I come through and I start setting this kind of stuff up. I have found that doing so, insert a lines break there. Doing so allows me to do a lot of things that I normally might not do, or if I need like when I find I need statuses or just details that I'm not normally reporting. 0.6. It's still legible, so that's good, and looks like the spirit is going to fly past us, which is even better. So now if I'm down here doing something, because for anybody who's watched the channel for any period of time, you know that I have this tendency of coming through and reworking on things. Like I'll add little details or something, but if I'm down in the bowels of the ship for some reason, this allows me to see exactly what's going on with the ship without having to find a chair or some kind of console that I have to access, which is nice because it puts all my information directly in front of me. And when I am doing things with, say, where I'm not keeping the game quite so vanilla, when I start going more mod heavy, one of the mods that I tend to use is the expanded LCD mod. I think I call it more LCDs or something like that. Basically, it adds LCDs to some of the blocks for both large and small grids. So you can have a 2-part block, right, the 2-part ramp, like this, and there will be an LCD on the large flat face on one side or the other. So it's kind of nice because what it allows you to do is to build more of a custom console system. The one thing I would like to see is that in general, I would like to see LCDs have the ability to rotate orientation of display, because there are times when, specifically when you're talking about like, here, I'll show you actually. When you're talking about some of these, like the corner LCDs, it would be nice to be able to rotate some of these and have them be usable in other directions. Because if you do, let's grab this one to show you. So this one's only going to be, if it's on the top, this one has to be displayed like this, right? So if you want the bottom one, it has to be like this. But what happens if I want to have it set so that it's actually down on the floor? You see? And that's the problem that you run into, is that you can't get this down into the corner. But yet if I did the other block, I can get that into the corner, and I'd like to be able to flip the text, so, you know, change the orientation to be 180 degrees. So that way when it's displayed, it just rotates the whole thing. But is what it is. And I think there might be a mod out there that allows you to do that, that has that functionality. But I'll have to take a look, because I haven't been keeping up on the LCD mods, unfortunately, because there's a lot of things that have been added to the core game. Because these corner LCDs used to be a mod. So, yeah, there is that. But yeah, so okay, so that's how we're basically setting up all of our controls and our information displays. And then what I'll probably do at some point is I'll come through here and I'll colorize these, so, you know, like power used might be red, and the tank status may be like white or yellow. Shield status will probably be green, I think. I tend to like that being a bit more of a eye-catching thing, because it's always nice to know. Yeah, so we'll probably do something like that. Let's see here for the power. Let's go, I don't know, what, yellow maybe? I remember here that they've got it set up on the blue-red, right? Or green-red, okay. We'll leave that one white, and batteries I think will go red, because these are things that no matter what position they are in, they are all taking power. Let's go. I'm looking for colors that are easy on the eyes, so that when we come through, should be okay. Alright, so our tanks are almost at 50%. Go ahead and stand up. We're going to head back. And so one of the nice things about this mod is that, you know, like with these doors, you can look in and you can see without actually going in there. And that's one of the reasons why I set these up the way I did, is because I wanted to make sure we'd be able to get information without having to necessarily go into the rooms. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to do that for the bridge, and you don't want it to, because, you know, the whole thing with the security. Alright, so let's check here. So yes, we're at 46%. Alright, so I think what we're going to do is I'm going to let this get up, hopefully to about 75% or so, and then we're going to try and head over to the lake, see how close we can get. I know that the ship has enough thrusters if I use with the hydrogen to actually fly over there. My concern is that we have 6 large thrusters pointing aftward, and I don't want to just burn all of my hydrogen, so I may go in and disable a few of those. I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. We'll see. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick break, and when we come back, we should be about ready to head over towards the lake. So we'll be right back. And we're back, and as you can see, it is a beautiful morning here on the alien world. The sky is a lovely shade of teal. And the trees are a lovely shade of blood orange. Alright, so we've been basically just loitering around on the planet, waiting for the hydrogen tanks to refill. And we're at about 75-ish%. I have noticed that I think these vents are not producing or not releasing enough O2 into the atmosphere, into the cabin at least. So I may need to reevaluate that. So I don't know if it's because they're partially blocked or if it's just not enough of an output for them. But is what it is. Anyway. So what we're going to do is we are going to head pretty much straight forward. So what I want to do is, if we get to the point, so I'm going to set a monitoring system, right? I should say I'm going to set a monitoring qualifier, I guess, or limit. If we get to the point where we are at 20% or less hydrogen, we're going to land wherever that is. You know, we're going to find a place to try to find a place to land somewhat flat, and then we'll let the O2 or the hydrogen recharge. If I need to, I will go mine some, but I'm looking at the ice supply, and it's very possible that we may need to, because this was at 91k, roughly, almost 92k, something in that area. We had the two cryopods full of ice, and the ice generator was full of ice. We've only got the ice generator and some of the cargo left. So the odds are we're going to need to harvest some ice. No matter what we do, we're going to have to harvest ice. That's not a question. But I do want to get over there. Okay, so we are going to power on all of our thrusters. And hopefully get close enough to the ice lake that we'll be able to get what we need. Now, one of the things that we're going to have to do is we are going to have to find resources. See, we're already down to 60 some odd percent on but we are going to have to look for things like iron and some of the basic resources. Iron, nickel, and cobalt are the ones that we really need to find. Alright. And I'm thinking, where are we going to get the best morning sun? Hopefully on one of the rocks faces, which is going to be over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up probably in that area there. So what we'll do is we'll set up our base over here, I think. And if we're lucky, there will be some materials in the immediate area. Because as long as we can harvest stuff, we're fine. So let's tuck ourselves, we're gonna tuck the ship in right over here, I think. Hey look, we have ice below us. So let's go ahead and swing this beast around here a little bit. Now I'm not going to back the ship completely up to the wall because I don't need to, but I do want to make sure we have, like I said, I want to make sure we do have resources here. So nice and gently here. And almost, we're locked. We can go ahead and turn off our thrusters. And that used more hydrogen than I was wanting it to, but that's okay. We are safely down. We can almost walk through there again. Alright, come here, you. That tells me that we're still not quite fully level, but that's okay. Oh, helps I put my helmet back on. Alright, so we have successfully landed, and I am seeing no resources in our immediate area. There might be some over there. Oh, nope, there is some right there. Let's see what we got. Okay. That's silicon. That's actually good. That is one of the things that I'd like to have in the area. Silicon, magnesium, which means we can make ammo. Alright. So now we start doing the GPS thing. This is going to be... what are we going to call this? We're going to call this one Alien Ice Lake. One, and what do we have here? We have magnesium and silicon. Alright, so now I get to basically run... holy crap. Get to run all over the ice lake looking for more materials. This should be entertaining. Alright, so I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do a quick cut here while I basically scout out the lake and the surrounding area. This is what I was saying. We're going to have to make a scout ship at some point. But you know, like I said, I do want to find some basic resources very quickly. That's more silicon and nickel. That's actually a good thing. And yeah, look at that, right? And we're calling this... what did we call these? Want this to be... ah, I didn't make one for the other one. Okay, yeah, so... Alien Ice Lake. Let's just go number 01, and this was, what was this? Silicon and nickel. Right. Actually, no, this is going to be number 2 because number 1 is going to be the one we just left. I'll have to go back and waypoint that. Okay, so let me go ahead and get all the lovely stuff done with this, and we will be right back. Alright, and we are back once more, and so yes, we actually ended up with quite a bit of good material here. We've actually got magnesium and silicon on the, well, what is that, the northeast portion of the lake. Looking towards the east portion, we've got gold and silver in the middle of the lake, and we've got a large iron deposit on the far east shore. And then talking about the southeast area, we've got magnesium, silicon, and nickel. So the only thing we don't have in the immediate area is cobalt. And honestly, I'm not sure how much cobalt I brought with me. Which may end up being a problem, because we've only got 1k cobalt. But in order to make, let me see here, these require nickel and iron. Iron and silicon, iron and silicon. So we won't need the cobalt until we get into the larger buildings. Like, so we'll have to build a small assembler first, and for that, because we're going to need to be able to make pipes, both small and large tubes, and those are going to, I believe, require cobalt for those. Alright, so we're not doing too bad. I wouldn't mind exchanging some of this, some of the silicon that we ended up with, because we've got silicon all over the place down here. Critical. I wouldn't mind changing one of those for cobalt, but we'll deal with what we've got, and let everything else figure itself out. Now the scuttler, I am worried about, but we'll see how that actually plays out. Alright, so let's go ahead and get in. So I did go ahead and add. Now I'm gonna add landing gear back here. So once we get a little bit more, actually, I wonder if we have. I don't think the atmospheric thrusters will be enough to lift the ship. Because if it is, then that actually solves some of our problems. But I don't think so. I think it's just a little too heavy for just Atmo. So let's go ahead and turn those on. We've got our hand on the thrusters for the hydrogen. Yeah, see? Just a little too much for it. That's okay. We're not too worried about it, but we do need to get out quickly. Because we want to drop our, we want to put landing gear on things here really quick. I should have set this up before we fired this thing up. And we're going to turn you. No, that is not what we want to do. Thank you. What? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Son of a... Oh, we'll have to change that in the settings. Alright. Okay, well that's funny. Alright, so I think that's about where we're going to be for today. I want to thank you all for stopping in. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to throw them down in the section below. We're going to tip the nose down here just a little bit. See if we can get this thing leveled off. There we go, that should be good. And everything is off. Should be at least, right? We're going to turn the ore detector off because we don't... Not really doing us a whole lot of good here. But for now, like I said, if you did enjoy it, make sure you hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, throw them out in the section below. And if you haven't done so already, just want to do something nice for me today, or want to be kept up to date with what's going on around here, be sure to hit that subscribe and ring the bell as well. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to get out of here. See, we've got thrusters back here that are still on, so we have to rebalance all of this. Anyway, so I hope you all have a fantastic week. Enjoy the rest of today, and we'll see you back here next time for more Space Engineers. As always, folks, take care and be safe out there, everybody. So let's see, did that turn it off? Nope. Alright, so I need to figure out which grouping they are actually in versus which ones they're supposed to be.